I'm a South Australian. It's a great thrill to be here and to be joined by the Premier Peter Malinauskas. Welcome, Premier, and we'll get to you in a minute. It's a great thrill to officially announce that the AFL will play an extra round in the 2023 Toyota AFL Premiership season, and that round will be played right here in South Australia. It is a league first for the national competition. All 9 AFL matches featuring all 18 clubs will be played in a single state for premiership points. It will officially be round 5 of the 2023 season, and the 9 games will be scheduled across 4 days, running from Thursday, April 13 through to Sunday, April 16, with dates coinciding with the school holidays nationally. Matchups, timings and venues will be confirmed upon the release of the fixture in late November, but at the risk of getting this wrong, nothing is confirmed, but the broad proposal we play here at Adelaide Oval in this incredible venue Thursday night, Friday night. We'd have double headers here on Saturday, double header here on Sunday, and then you would be able to we'd play the balance of the games, 3 games in suburban venues in Adelaide and potentially a regional venue, and these are all to be confirmed, and we'll partner with the state government on that. It's pretty exciting. Entry to all of the 9 matches will be free to club and AFL members. So clearly it's relevant to your specific club, but it will be free to members for your teams. And further ticketing information will be released shortly, with tickets on sale post the release of the fixture. Again, I hope I'm not running ahead, but I want to thank Darren Chandler of the Sandful, John Kernahan from the Adelaide Football League, but to give all South Australians, or as many South Australians, the opportunity to come as possible. The Sandful and the Adelaide Football League will be having a weekend off, or a bye weekend that weekend. I think you can draw a line through this. We're going to bring the football here. We know AFL fans love travelling. An average of 3,400 supporters travel to every game. This is going to be massive for our game, and it's going to be massive for South Australia and for Adelaide. The Premier and his team's ambitions are significant. Think marquees all the way down the Torrens, closing Norwood Parade if it happened to be at Norwood Oval, state dinners, I just made that up, but that sounds good. Big lunches, families bringing their kids for the weekend, girls trips, boys trips, the Barossa, McLachlan, Vale, showing off this state and football at the heart of it. It is going to be incredibly big, and we're excited to be standing here announcing it. Over the pandemic years, South Australia played a hugely important role in the survival of our game, so we're pleased to be able to bring what I think is going to be a legacy event for our code to start here in Adelaide in South Australia. And so on behalf of the AFL, I'd like to thank and congratulate Premier Malinauskas, who has, I would say, almost single-handedly wrested this initiative away from the other states, certainly in year 1. He has been determined. I actually told him at one point he was a pest. It has been just a high conviction, determined approach where he has prosecuted the benefits for the league, how South Australia and his government and his team would make this a success. He camped outside presidents' meetings in a little tent. He looked like someone who'd missed their international connection, lying on the floor when I came out. He put heavy tags on everyone in the Olympic room on grand final day, and I want to congratulate him for being so single-minded to secure this event in the first instance for his state, because it's been pretty impressive, Premier. So we feel incredibly confident in what you and your team will deliver for our game, and I know you're confident in what our game will deliver for this city and for this state. And I'm frankly pretty excited, looking forward to April next year. So over to you, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Gil. Thanks very much, Gil. There you go, pass the Hill. Can I just start by thanking you, Gil, not just for your kind words, but for the whole team in the AFL putting their confidence in the state of South Australia, putting on one hell of a show in April next year. Make no mistake, this is a big victory for the state of South Australia, and it's going to be a huge weekend of footy, which everyone in our state, but more importantly, everyone in our country can enjoy. This is going to be an event that fills every single last hotel room in South Australia. There won't be a restaurant that won't be completely packed out. The bars better start ordering those kegs ASAP, because for hospitality, who has paid so much of a sacrifice during the pandemic, the rewards are going to start coming their way with the prospect of having all 9 games of AFL footy right here in South Australia. My message to everyone around the country is pack your bags, book your flights, because when you land in South Australia in April next year, you're going to know that a festival of footy like none other before it has come to this town, and we're going to put on one hell of a show. You're right, Gil. There was a moment on a Sunday afternoon, I was going through my weekend bag and a innocuous file came up from the SATC, and it was a different type of file from the usual drudgery, and it was about a concept that the AFL were contemplating for a 24th round and having all 9 games of footy in one city, one state. And I remember reading this and I thought, this is a big deal. This is something that is out of the box. This has the potential to be very special, and I straight away approved the file to continue on, and then called your good self, Gil, and I know I've been a pest ever since, but I'm glad it's paid off, because this initiative from the AFL is something different, and it provides an opportunity to celebrate footy, but not just at the professional level, but right through to the grassroots. And part of the pitch to the AFL here in South Australia is that we are going to pause footy and celebrate everything about it on that weekend with all 9 games. I want to thank the Sandful and the Adelaide Footy League for their commitment to put a buy on during the round, so that everyone in our state, every last player, man, woman, boy, girl, volunteers, so they can enjoy everything that footy has to offer. We are going to take this opportunity to not just showcase footy, but to showcase the state of South Australia. We know from all of our research and experience that when someone gets on a plane and comes to Adelaide and our beautiful regions, they want to come back again. So this is an opportunity for us to showcase the state to a whole new demographic with a whole new experience to, of course, enjoy the footy, but also enjoy our beautiful regions and the amazing hospitality offerings that we have here in South Australia. For those of you that have a degree of familiarity with the Adelaide Test match, it's something more than just the cricket. You go out the back and it becomes somewhat of an occasion, something to dress up for and look forward to. Well, this is a chance for the same experience to footy, but also at a whole new level. Pinky flat, out the back, behind the Western Stand, on the eastern side of the Oval, street parties throughout the state. It's going to be a celebration that everyone can enjoy, right from the grassroots of footy to the professional level. Gil, I want to assure you and the AFL that you have made the right decision, because the entirety of the state government, from myself and everyone down to the front line, we are committed to putting on an excellent show, a real celebration of Australia's game, our game, to the rest of the nation. So we appreciate the opportunity. We won't let you down. And for the South Australian community that has joined me in calling for this to be here in South Australia, we've won the prize. Now it's time for us to deliver the goods, and it's going to be an exciting journey along the way.
Great. So happy for the Premier to take questions first on the activation.
How much money are the major events funds allocated?
Yep. So as you're aware, Ollie, I went to the election and I made it clear that we were going to allocate $40 million to a major events fund to attract new events that are going to fill up our hotel rooms and our hospitality venues. And all of the funds that we've allocated towards the Magic or the AFL's 24th round, name to be determined, that is coming out of that pool. So that is why we put the program together, and I'm now glad it's paying dividends.
Is it more than 10 million, 10, between 10 and 20?
Well, I'm not too sure if it's I'm not too sure it's as much as what New South Wales was putting on the table, but that's for them to speak about. But look, it's not about the money; it's about the jobs that it provides for. I'm not going to go into the specifics because that's subject to commercial in confidence in a way that won't surprise you. But we're confident on all the numbers that we've run. We're making an investment that is going to more than deliver to the taxpayers of South Australia. And just bear in mind this, because I was pretty, I was somewhat pointed in my remarks earlier this year that when we contemplate economic stimulus, that we have a duty to orientate the effort towards those industries that paid the biggest sacrifices during COVID. We know that there were small business owners and workers who gave up their income, their capital, their labour during the pandemic in the name of everybody else's safety. So now, post the pandemic, our obligation is to repay that sacrifice by ensuring the economic stimulus we invest in is orientated towards them. And that's exactly what this is. Of course, it's a great opportunity for Australians to be able to enjoy all of the entertainment that footy has to offer. But for me, it's far more important that we repay those who paid the big sacrifices during the pandemic, and none more so than the hospitality industry. Yes. Oh, but that, we can't. I'm not going to play the game of, how much, where, when, but we've got other irons in the fire. But this is the big prize that we've been working really, really hard for, and it's been a whole of state effort. We got the Adelaide Footy Club, the Port Adelaide Footy Club, the Sandful, the Stadium Management Authority, all in the room and on the same page to deliver this outcome as a state. In South Australia, we always have to punch above our weight, particularly when we're taking on the East Coast and the big states. But we succeed when we work together, and that's an effort that I'm so proud to have been able to lead, and I'm glad it's delivered for the people of our community.
When will the suburban and regional grounds be announced?
Well, that'll be up to the AFL, but we're working closely with them on it. We've got an opportunity to really start to encourage. Look, here's the key point: Australians can start booking their flights right now because we know when this round is going to be. You can book with confidence knowing that your AFL team is going to be playing in Adelaide in mid-April next year. So you may as well book your flights and accommodation now. In terms of the specifics, we're excited to see what that'll look like. There's, as Gil referred to, there's still a bit of work in progress around where those games outside of Adelaide Oval will be. There's a few options on the table, but we certainly see an opportunity to showcase the state more broadly.
Is there much work that needs to be done at those suburban grounds to bring them up to
Well, it depends where we land, but potentially yes.
Which ones have you picked? It sounds like the parade is one of them.
Well, there's a few options that we've put on the table to the AFL. I've publicly canvassed the Barossa as an option, and that doesn't mean that it's going to the Barossa. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. But there are, we've got a range of options around the state to be able to showcase regions that are worth visiting, and we see this as an opportunity to elevate that tourism offering. When you go, the Barossa has come a long way in the last 10 years in terms of its extraordinary food and beverage offering, the experiences that are available to people, and we just need to get people here to experience it once, and they'll go home and tell all their mates about it. So we're just going to get those venues right, and we'll make the best decisions in conjunction with the needs of the AFL, of course. It's probably a best question for Gil, but look, South Australians show up, right? So our record in terms of people participating, attending events, punches well above its weight when it comes to our relative share of the population. So the AFL can have complete confidence that a unique offering like this, for the first time in the history of the game, will be celebrated and gone to and attended by South Australians. We love it. I'm not objective, but one of the best things in the world is being able to stand here on this patch of earth and have a beer with friends and stand and watch the footy. You can't do it in many other AFL venues in a place like it. So I suspect this will be chock-a-block. Everyone will be well behaved, no doubt.
No doubt it was a fight to get the Magic Round. what's your message to Dom Perrottet?
Well, honestly, or not too sure if I should be magnanimous or no. Look, we welcome the competition, but obviously the best team won.
Will this be an ongoing event, Gillon here, South Australia?
Well, look, Gil, I hope doesn't mind me saying this, but you know, I hope that I hope that South Australia puts on such a good show for the 24th round that it makes it almost impossible for the AFL not to want to continue the 24th round into the future, and that South Australia is always going to be considered as being a leading contender to get it in the future. And that's our ambition. And I have complete confidence that we'll be able to achieve that objective. The objective was to get it here first. You know, we wanted to be first. I didn't want anyone else's sloppy seconds, particularly Sydney's. So now that we've got the event, we put on the best show that we can, and then that sets us up for the future.
Obviously, have a bit of a dig at the potential Sydney crowds. What sort of crowds are we expecting?
Or bigger than Sydney's. I mean, we get more people to the cricket here for a test match at Adelaide Oval with our population in comparison to Sydney with their hordes. So, and footy's no different. Look, I mean, turn on the NRL on most weekends and, you know, it looks like a sample game. So, like, we're going to get far bigger crowds here, and that's something we're proud of and is worth backing in.
How much would you use, I guess, the NRL being there as well, and there being no competition for Michaels in South Australia behind you?
Oh, look, there's always competition. You know, it's a competitive marketplace, winter sports throughout the nation, and that's true in South Australia here. But we love our footy codes regardless of what they are. We saw a pretty good turnout for a rugby union test match here not that long ago. So, look, South Australians just enjoy showing up. We enjoy each other's company, and we enjoy celebrating something together. And this is the opportunity to do that for our own game here, the Australian game.
In your bidding, what does this mean now for the Live Golf Tour? Are you actively bidding for that?
Yeah, we've made it clear that we think that golf needs a bit of a shake-up, particularly in an Australian context, and that's something we keep an eye on. But this is the big prize that we were shooting for first and foremost, and we'll see how that plays out.
Will be announcements soon.
We'll see how that plays out.
Great, we might throw over Gil for questions.
Is there an official name for this yet, Gil?
No, I'm glad you asked that question. I've got the best team in the world, and certainly in any form of sport, and they get most things right. And I thank Travis Ord and Dave Stevens and others for the work on this. However, all of their suggestions are terrible around this name. I saw a list of them. I've done polling and research and, you know, all this stuff. So it's an open invitation to all South Australians, but frankly all football supporters nationally, which is pretty much everyone in the country, to whatever platform, maybe even set up competition, because this thing I feel is going to be huge, and it needs to be. It needs to have its own life and its own identity and its own character, and it actually got to reflect, I feel, the game. And it's, despite the Premier's urging to have a 10-year arrangement here, and he's certainly won. There is a, you know, we think going to New South Wales, despite all of the thing, or to Western Australia at some point in the future, for the supporters there, will be a big thing. So it's got to have a continuity and a life, and it's got to be in our DNA. Now, whether it's road trip round or big round or Mallee round, or which was put forward by the Premier this morning. I'm encouraging everyone to lean on this and own it in the way that our supporters own our game, because it's going to be pretty special, and there's going to be a lot of pride in our game when people do road trips or fly in here and come here with their kids or their mates or their families, and just get together with other supporters of all 18 clubs and post up in a town and go to bars, go to wineries, go to games that teams they don't support. And it's as much about the game as about the culture of our game in this round, and so I think the name's got to reflect that.
Part of the idea was to sort of spread the code to other jurisdictions. You worry that having an SA, you're preaching to the converted, and I already love the AFL.
I think there's a couple of things I'd say that. I think that South Australia is a traditional football state. I know, speaking to and growing up with my friends, feel a little wounded they missed a grand final. I feel that they've I think that big initiatives have been going on around them. And I think that the stimulus, and even for the Rusted On and for the others, it'll be about it, that whatever is created in South Australia, I think is going to have a national knock-on effect. So I actually think that the passion will actually create an asset and an opportunity that actually will reverberate around the country.
Can you shed any more light on how much taxpayer support has gone into this?
Well, if it's a $40 million fund, that's the part my guys didn't do a good enough job of doing, is getting all the $40 million.
What about the sort of long term? Obviously, this is for next year. Beyond that, is South Australia set to host it for a certain number of years, or is it going to move around?
I'm hopefully transparent all the time. I think South Australia, by being so determined to win this bid and led by the Premier, as I've said, is in a position to get, over the next couple of years, to be coming back here. I mean, I think that you get rewarded for winning and for that. But I'm also strong that actually there's huge benefits for our game and football supporters in New South Wales and Western Australia and Queensland. So we'll work through that. I think we've got to prove the concept here. I feel we're in the right hands to do that. But, the transparent answer is I think there's a payoff for the state at some point for winning it, but we also want to go on the road with this, so we'll find the right accommodation on all of that.
What's the measure around it for the players having an extra round rather than partying 23 rounds?
So the two parts about that, I think why have an extra round is, this came out of last year when the pre-season sort of got short and the clubs were bearing all of the cost of playing in main venues, and they just treat it like a home and away game. So coming out of that opening round, players were suspended, they were injured, they were right in it. And it's like, well, if we're playing a pre-season game like a home and away ground, instead of bearing all the cost, can we create an asset that actually has a huge benefit for our supporters and for our game and for a state and a city? So I think we've taken what was happening to empty venues in a practice game, in a pre-season game, and transformed it into what I'm optimistic is going to be a huge initiative for business and people in South Australia, but nationally, and for our game, and so hopefully it's an asset. And the second question was, I think, the impact into player salaries, soft caps, all of that. So that's all factored in. We're working with the clubs. Our commitment to the clubs is and the players, the majority of the money will wash through into those all 18 clubs, not just the home and away part of that. So they'll be effectively, each club will still have 11 home and 11 away games, and then these will be games where they'll actually share the proceeds, and the soft cap and the salary cap will accommodate all that. And the details being worked through. I think that answers your question. Yeah.